What's up, everybody? I am back with a quick movie review. Just finished watching Happy Gilmore 2. Eventually, I gotta review the first Happy Gilmore. Is easily one of the best Adam Sandler films. He made a lot of great films, and I only just realized that Adam Sandler probably single-handedly has made like a series of sports films or has some kind of sports tie into his films if you really think about it. And it's kind of wild. Didn't even notice it. Uh, but yeah, uh, when push comes to shove, man, I tend to, aside from maybe some rare exceptions, I tend to walk away from an Adam Sandler movie feeling good. Because for the most part, they're all pretty much like kind of family films. It's like, aside from some raunchy comedy here and there, it's pretty much like a family film. A lot of his stuff. And like, I grew up on Adam Sandler films. I think, oh God, it's hard for me to say like because Happy Gilmore is right up there, but I do love Anger Management as another Adam Sandler film I just really like. Click is really fun. One of his like ones is kind of like a not very high tier type of, at least talked about, but it was something that came on Netflix a few years ago. God, he Chris Rock co-starred, not Grown Ups, but I do love the first two Grown Ups films, but the third one was that was one of the crappy ones. But I'm not talking about Grown Ups. Crap. What was that he did with Chris Rock? God, it was only like a few years ago. It's very like low key, but still kind of funny. Golly, what is it? Um, Blanking on it. God dog it. Hold on, cause it's gonna bother me. Um, yeah, Hubie Halloween is one that's uh, I tried watching it when it came out, but I couldn't make it past like the first act. It was so like dull and unfunny. Murder mystery films was really good. I had the first couple of the first two Hotel Transylvania films. I was like freaking fun. Waterboy, obviously. Oh crap, that was so good. But the one I was thinking of, oh crap, what was it? Uh, uh, what was it? The week of. That was it. The week of that one had a fun time watching. It's very low key. Might not be for everybody, but it's very like I didn't watch Uncut Gems, but heard like rave reviews about it. I'm not gonna say like it's bad or anything like that. Obviously, it's worth a watch for a lot of people. But the week of is kind of like that, where it's Adam Sandler pretty much low key, but still has his fun mannerisms. Matter of fact, now I'm thinking about it, I really want to rewatch that. I watched it like at least a couple of times, and it was just like a fun. It's just like a fun time. Like, I do enjoy me some Adam Sandler. Uh, but anyway, uh, yeah, of course, this movie stars Adam Sandler, directed by Kyle Newacek, written by Adam Sandler and Tim Herthy or Hurley. A little bit of a fun fact. I remember auditions for this film, and I was like, very close to trying to audition myself, but obviously this was a film way over in New York, and I didn't have the funds just to, you know, take a trip for like a, to star as like an extra or what have you. I wish I could have, or it wasn't even like New York. I think it was Virginia. Then I'm pretty sure they filmed both areas. I didn't have the funds like that to go, so I can be casting it. Otherwise, I would have like loved to just be in a Adam Sandler film. But it's fine. Uh, Maybe some point in the future, God willing. But it stars Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore, uh, Julie Bowen as Virginia, Happy's wife. Christopher McDonald reprises his role as Shooter McGavin, one of the best uh, movie villains outside of a superhero film. Uh, uh, Benny Safdie as Frank Manatee, CEO of Maxi Energy Drink. Bad Bunny as Oscar Mijas, Happy's caddy. John Daly as a hermit who lives with Happy. Ben Stiller reprises his role as Hal, the abusive orderly that messed with Happy's grandmother in the first film. And of course, Adam Sandler's wife and daughters almost always are in his films, some shape or form. We got his wife who plays Monica's Monica, his youngest daughter's dance teacher. Sadie Sandler as Charlotte, as like a member of a support group, and looks like a spitting image of Sandler. uh, Sorry. Look like an exact spitting image of Sandler. It was just kind of scary. The DNA runs strong in that. Uh, Sonny Sandler, who plays Vienna, the youngest daughter in the film, uh, who's probably been in she only been in two of Adam Sandler's films. Her first film is one I didn't see. You're Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. It's kind of like a coming of age story kind of film. Uh, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Ethan Katusky, Philip Fine Snyder, and Connor Sherry play, in order, Gordy, Wayne, Bobby, and Terry, Happy's first four boys. And of course, we got a lot of professional golfers, playing as playing in this film here and there, like John Daly. But we also got Dennis Dugan as Doug Thompson, the head of the PGA. Kevin Nealon as Gary Potter, sports commentator. Haley Joel Osment as Billy Jenkins, another pro golfer. Lavelle Crawford plays the son of the late his late mentor Chubb's son, Slim Peterson. He also got, like I said, the real golfers like Bryson D. Chambio, Brooks Copia, Roy McClory, Scotty Schiffler. I know I'm mispronouncing a lot of those last names, so excuse me. And then we got Eminem, who plays Donald Jr., the son of that heckler from the first film that goes like jackass, who played by the late Joe Flaherty. So yeah, it's a nice little moment where Happy played homage to people who passed on over the years that was in the first film. Like there's like a cemetery with a lot of them, with their gravestones all kind of clumped together. Even he even paid homage to the kid who was in those Descendant films, who passed away a handful of years ago. It was like a big deal. He passed away in his sleep. I don't know. It was like uh, do like a not a heart attack, but it's not epilepsy or something or other. I can't remember. Yeah, it was epilepsy. Cameron Boyce. He was uh in the Grown Ups, the first two Grown Ups films. So it was a nice little moment where he actually, played homage to him by showing like if you blinking and missing. I'm pretty sure you can look it up. He shows on like a television screen, like a clip from his Disney Channel series of Jessie. So it's kind of like that makes Adam Sandler one of the nicest people there. And he danced to the beat his own drum, which I respect wholeheartedly, because he goes to an award show not all dressed up in fancy attire. He just like dressed very casually, just like like he's about to head to a park or something like that. It's like I respect it. I kind of wish I could just because he reached to that height to be able to do that kind of thing. Where you just go and he not like he dressed like a bum, but he dressed like he's just like an everyday dude. It's like him and like Keanu Reeves. It's just like they just the average Joe thing they never lost sight of, which I just greatly admire and respect. These are like stand up dudes. Very funny too. Like, oh. And of course, I'm a huge Eminem fan, and I'm just like so dope that he's. I mean, Eminem been in another Happy Gilmore, not Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler film, which was the what was that movie with Seth Rogen in it? Happy something. I'm blanking on it. Anyway, with this the way it opens is like very nice, where telling us the brief story of what happened long after the events of the first film, where Happy and Virginia started a family, and Happy went on to compete in more golf tours, which, by the way, now I'm speaking on the lady, people have been bringing up, which I didn't even realize. If you look back on a lot of, probably not every Adam Sandler film, but the vast majority of them, especially the more memorable ones, a lot of the I'm pretty sure right up to this one, a lot of the love interests of Adam Sandler in his films have V names. You notice that? Like Vicky Valancourt, Virginia. You even got daughters with V, like Vienna. It's like a lot of, you got a thing for V's. It's kind of funny if you think about it. I just thought I mentioned that because I thought that was kind of like, did not notice that. Wow. Anyway, they started the family, had 5 children, but then on his like 6th tour, one of his golf swings, the long drives, ends up hitting and killing Virginia on the on the green, which I'm shocked that they took her out of this movie altogether. I mean, killed off the character so early on like that, because she was such a pivotal part of the first film. Sure, she's still like a driving force, no pun intended, of this film, she pops up in like memories and flashbacks, but it's kind of like a shame, because she was like a great character. But he feels guilty about what happened, so he puts away his putters. He ends up drinking and losing his grandmother's house. He ultimately ends up in an AA, a court mandated AA program in to avoid prison time for beating up a guy who's about to repo his car. So, since his boys, ends up already moved out and working, pretty good jobs, they end up funding him and the daughter in like a quaint little home, where she's pretty much like looking after him, which he feels even more guilty of because now he's working at a grocery store. He pretty much lost his reputation, kind of went into like a downturn. He ends up meeting with Maxwell, who is trying to get him involved into his he's trying to revitalize golf into a pro wrestling style type of golf, because just like a whole play on golf being boring and it's very stagnant, and he wants to evolve it, pretty much like wiping out the traditions of what makes golf what it is. He's not interested, and it turns him down, but his daughter wants to go to this school, is like ballet school in Paris, which is like $75,000 per year. So it's 4 years in this ballet school. And so in order to afford it, he decides to get back into golf, but he hasn't played in like a decade. So he's very rough around the edges. He tries to like play with these young somethings. I'm pretty sure only half of them probably just in their mid to late 20s. One of them being Eric Andre, which he was just recently in the Ironheart show for like 10 lousy minutes. And no shade to Eric Andre, I only saw like a few bits of his show that was on the Comedy Central. His comedy isn't my thing. Anytime I see him personally, it's not funny. I'm not sure what's the appeal to that guy. The only thing that he probably is more known for is probably the meme he made from his show with this whole looking at the camera and then shooting that guy from Homecoming. The Spider-Man Homecoming. This it's probably like his most recognized. I mean, no shade, because he's probably living infamy because of it. But it's just like, I don't see the appeal to the guy. Anyway, they pretty much clowning him until they realize that's Happy Gilmore. And honestly, I gotta mention, like, at this segment, these kids, they weren't needed. They're just there to either clown him or doing some stupid dance to Little John and the East Side Boys. And it's like, you don't factor in at all. Why are you here? He could have just been here by himself, or just get some, or whatever, just at some kind of putt thing and just like crashes out there. Speaking of crashing out, this dude finds very intricate ways of getting drunk, because he had like a darn gone cucumber filled with booze. He had a cuckoo clock filled with booze. He had just his phone filled with booze. It's just like half of the, I think Adam Sandler probably easily written all these jokes, because like I would never thought about making a phone a makeshift booze. I never would have thought about that. It's kind of funny. But so after crashing a golf cart while drunk, yeah, they decided, okay, we got to clear out all the alcohol in this house. We cannot have him doing this. But he gets involved. He gets his he goes to his happy place, and then he talks with his late wife in his mind, and she gives him the push he needs to like get his head on straight. He does better little by little. Then he ends up going to the what do you call it, tour, the tour championship, meets with his old golfing buddies. It's kind of funny looking back where he was like the upstart nobody kind of old hockey player that couldn't hack it into this kind of stuffy room, and now he's like in this creme de the creme type of people, but they all look at him in reverence because he changed the face of golf forever, pretty much. This is where Happy meets Oscar, played by Bad Bunny, and see him getting berated by this other waiter or senior waiter. I don't know sure what the job position the guy was in. It definitely wasn't a manager. Played by Travis Kelce, who once again pretty much didn't add anything. He wasn't bad. Travis Kelce, seems pretty funny. Him and Bad Bunny actually has some comedic chops in this. However, it seems only Bad Bunny adds something to this, where Travis Kelce kind of disappeared altogether after the first act. Never shown up again. I was like, what was the point? It would have been nice where, because he ends up firing Oscar because he was a dick. But it would have been nice where Oscar get his kind of revenge on the guy, his give him his comeuppance for being like such a d-head to him. That way it comes full circle. Kind of left that hanging. So it's like having this guy there just didn't really amount to nothing. Or at the very least, you didn't have to cast somebody like Travis Kelce in this for such a bit role that didn't amount to nothing. You could at least have him as like one of those other cameo appearances. Like they had Post Malone as a cameo. There's a lot of musical artists in here. They got Kid Cudi as a cameo, but not as himself, but as like an FBI agent. We got Stephen A. Smith in here. We got at least a couple of people from different real time podcasts. Like we got Sean Evans from Hot Ones had like a bit a bit role in this, but he could have been relegated to that, and it would have been fine. But it's just like you kind of, I don't know, set him up and didn't do nothing with it. It's like, what's the point of that? Anyway, so Happy decided to use Oscar as his caddy because his old caddy, which I thought it was really nice to bring him back around after all these years. He even chokes out his own caddy the same way Happy choked him out back in the day. it's kind of funny. We get little flashbacks of the previous film, which some might argue that it might you kind of padding time by showing little clips of the past film, where maybe a couple of times would have been fine, but you kind of do it at least 5 or 6 times in this film, and I can see how it could be a little bit much for some viewers. I wasn't totally bothered by it, but it could have been worth 2 or 3 times to be used. But it's nice to see that guy again, and now he's a pro golfer himself, which I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought it was kind of funny. He still holds a grudge for choking him out all those years ago. He haven't gotten over it. I don't know why. I thought that was kind of funny. It was really funny. It's like, you son of a bitch. He's choking him out. He still remembers that all these years. He ain't let that go. Oh my God, that was really funny. But it turns out Billy, who thought was a part of the tour championship, turns out to work for Maxwell, who's starting his own little pro golf kind of league, and only doing it differently to make it kind of like a American Gladiator wrestling type of feel to it. It's to add excitement to this, what he thinks is a kind of like a stale sport. And he went so far as actually busting, or at least getting the legal papers to get Shooter McGavin out of the mental institution, because after the events of the first film, he kind of lost his mind and got committed. But he ends up being released, and he wants Shooter McGavin to lead his team. But even he shows, because Billy actually has this torn ligament. What do you call it? It was like a lumbar ligament. He tells Shooter about the story about this old 50s golfer played by Nick Swartzen. Was it Nick Swartzen? Yeah, Nick Swartzen, who after getting attacked by a mob boss for not paying what he owed, they put a golf shoe up his ass, and through the X-rays, he noticed there was like a torn ligament, which, as a result, allowed him like a kind of like a springy type of movement in his swings, so it gives him the power to make those long drives as he hits the golf ball. So he puts all of his golfers through this surgery, so that way every one of them can make a long drive, boosting their popularity and making them instant sensations as golfers. But I'm shocked how this isn't like brought to light and making it highly illegal. But Shooter not only thought that was kind of barbaric, but even he is like a traditionalist when it comes to golf. He's looking at all of this stuff, and even he was like, "I'm not a part of this. Don't freaking like leave me." He dips out of there. I'm shocked that there was no security to stop him, but he threw hot coffee in the guy's face. The abuse this Maxwell guy go through is freaking funny. I didn't really kind of skip over it. Through the process of going through these tours, working his way up, which he ends up in like the 6th place position. Because I don't know if it was Maxwell or Billy, they got in his head it being Mother's Day, and he still blames himself for the death of his wife and leaving his children without a mother, it kind of screws up his game, and so he, falls, back on the wagon, or fell off the wagon. Whichever one was the negative. I'm pretty sure it fell off the wagon, and so we got the return of that guy who was an IRS agent that had to keep beating up for delivering bad news. Now he's a lawyer, and once again another flashback. We see that moment where Happy keeps tossing his ass out his grandma's house, and they all have a laugh at him. It's like, so you want people to stop hating you, so you became a lawyer. Anyway, Happy kind of like, botched or nearly botched his chances of getting the prize money. So he goes to his wife's grave where Shooter is, because through Maxwell, Shooter ends up finding out about the passing of Virginia, who he still had, admiration for. Despite him being a jerk to her, he still had some level of respect for her. So I kind of like this one where like Shooter and Happy, after all these years, like, finally get to like mix it up, and they end up getting to a fight. But then, after they kind of got tuckered out because they're in their 50s, they finally call it a truce. And understanding that despite their rivalry, they still respect the game of golf and the traditionalism by it. And I kind of like the point where, well, I'll get to it in a second. This is like a fun part because it's kind of like Dragon Ball Z. It kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z Super, where Frieza comes to help because he has his own motivations, but even still, he comes to assist Goku and the Z Fighters in order to fight the other universes in order to preserve their own universe. And it's kind of like, wow, you never thought you will be alive to see the day where Goku and Frieza team up for a common goal. And it's kind of like this, where it's like Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore teaming up. Because this is why it's so imperative. Like, I thought it'd been so nice to actually have Virginia be alive to see these two team up. Because it would have been like, like it's such an arc for this guy. Because the actor Christopher McDonald, for ever since the first Happy Gilmore, because he been on record mentioning that ever since that movie, he had such a tough time because everybody only recognized him as Shooter McGavin, and became an instant just the hate he got because of the character he played, which I can see why he have a tough time, because he can't even go to a freaking grocery store without somebody flipping him off or something like that. I can see how that can be such a headache. But it also shows, if you looking at it as a glass half full, it also shows what a great actor you are, because you did such a great job that people like just instantly see you as that villain because you played him such an incredible way where you're just hateable, because like you're being like such a dick, where it's just like, yeah, you did too of a good job, I guess. But yeah, maybe. So I'm glad he came back around. So maybe after this film, people will see it's like, oh wow, it's like, like you are still like a D head, but you have some level of honor to the game. So they team up in order to uh, get three other golfers, or at least well, they have five golfers with Shooter helping with the coaching. Happy ends up getting from his daughter uh, an address to meet up with Chubbs' son that was never mentioned in the first film, uh, uh, played by Larvell. What's his name? Larvell? Yeah, Lavelle Crawford. And once again, I don't know why we need this kind of guy. And Lavelle Crawford is a comedian, and he says nothing funny. He just had that same old wooden hand like his father. I don't think it was ever really explained why he has the exact same injury as his father. Look, nothing like him. And I thought if he was going to include a son of somebody who looks something like Carl Weathers, I thought it would have been awesome if you casted Michael B. Jordan as the son, because he is the son of Creed. And he does such a great job. I thought it probably would have been more apt if you casted Michael B. Jordan. If you want somebody, because I don't know, why Lavelle Crawford? And the character, if you want to just talk about the character, he added nothing, just spouting the same words of wisdom as his father did, and it's just like, you don't really do much. And I kind of wish he would have been added to the film much earlier, at the very least halfway through the movie. That was just my personal complaint. Well, my personal complaint is should have added Michael B. Jordan to this particular role, personally. But outside of that, yeah, you could have, if you wanted to include the son of Chubb, you should have added him much sooner in the film, not at the tail end, where at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. But they end up going 5v5, with the Tour Championship versus the Maxwell's company, Maxi Golf, because he's the CEO of the Maxi Energy Drink. And the running joke, the fact that this guy has such bad breath, it turns out it's because of that horrible energy drink that's disgusting and it causes bad breath, which we don't find out until the later in the film. Anyway, so the tournament goes off. A couple people on Happy side gets taken out, one by knocking out one of Max's people, who's just got knocked out so much he just knocked out for the rest of the game. Only wakes up a brief moment and then goes right back to sleep. I was like, none of these people add nothing in terms of being villains. They weren't really memorable like Shooter McGavin was. And then another of Happy's people gets an injury, so Shooter steps in, and we see Happy giving Shooter McGavin a pep talk in order to get back his that fighting spirit that he kind of like lost sight of because of his I won't say mental instability, but just his through his ordeal, he finally got that fighting spirit, and he manages to sink his shot, evening things up. So now it's down to Billy and Happy, and so now, because throughout this golf course, which is set up by Maxwell, who shows the world what his kind of golf course will look like, which is pretty much like a non-stop obstacle course. It's like something out of something like Super Mario Golf or something, You literally have like patches of fire that people got to navigate through using their golf carts. And to be fair, I can see why people could, be intrigued by this, because it looks like a live action Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, but Mario Golf or something. Because it's just outrageous obstacles. So it's down to the final tee where there's like a platform that, is like, go off kilter if you step on it. So, by a few putts shy, Billy managed to get a putt in. Then it's up to Happy, who Max makes a deal with them, saying like, if you lose, you got to work for my company, but if you win, which seems like a very lopsided deal, because it seems more favorable for Happy in this deal than it is for him. Could have made the deal a lot more even this way, but if Happy wins, then not only that he pays for Happy's daughter's ballet school, but he will shut down the whole Max Golf thing and pay for Oscar's Italian restaurant he wants to open. Like I said, kind of deal feels a little lopsided. He didn't bother to sweeten the pot for Max in that deal, to whatever. But thanks to some kind of very smart, moves by Happy, getting Oscar on the other end of the platform and balancing it out, he ends up sticking the shot in, winning the game, and keeping like traditions of golf the way they are. Which, give credit to Max, who points out to Happy that he looks up to Happy in to some degree, because when back in the 90s, when Happy came into the pro golf thing, he changed the game because of his antics and his ideals. He changed the face of golf and made it super popular. He just wants to do what Happy did, but it's kind of like the inverse of what Happy did. Happy didn't try to like bulldoze what made golf great. He just, added a little bit. If you look back on it, like he just had, it's kind of like tailgating in a way. You got more people interested in watching golf the way it was, because, it's just, his personality was so inviting. He didn't try to restructure everything the way Max is trying to. He it's just like Happy's, character add the flair to a sport that was very like quote unquote boring. While it just kept the way it was, but he just got more eyes to it. Anyway, the movie ends with that Hal guy getting arrested by the FBI when they figure out, because Adam Sandler's daughter, like I said, I can't remember the girl's name, because she, pops up here and there to offer little words of wisdom to him, thinking she's part of this sobriety program support group, but it turns out to be an undercover agent, getting evidence on Hal, who turns out to be, as a con artist. And this is around the time of his, 3-month sobriety. So that guy gets arrested. Once again, it's fun to see Ben Stiller reprising his role as this, evil bastard. But you could have taken him out. Didn't really add much. There's quite a few things that could have been taken out that didn't add much. Ben Stiller's character, LeVar Crawford's character, Travis Kelce's character, those guys could have just been completely taken out. Wouldn't have affected the movie all that much. Uh, but then we see his children. He sees his children off to Paris. Uh, the boys, I guess, kind of looking after, you know, staying in Paris for some reason. Uh, mostly to look after the daughter while she's studying abroad. And the movie ends with Happy waving goodbye to the spirits of his wife and Chubbs and his grandmother. But also, I forgot about mentioning Eminem is, like I said, like, he's funny, but he's so short lived that he gets murdered immediately by crocodiles in the lake, and it's like, you don't shut down somebody just died and you don't shut down the entire tour to get the ambulance involved and the police and all this other stuff. No, moving on, fine. I thought that was kind of weird, but Eminem's my personal favorite musical artist of all time. It's like, I know, not verbatim, I used to back in the day, but like, I love the vast majority of his songs. So it's fun to see him in this. He recently just became a grandfather. His daughter had like I don't know, it was like a daughter or a son. I can't remember. She just recently had like a baby. So, man, I'm getting old. Like, Eminem's daughter just had like a child of her own. Anyway, that was Happy Gilmore 2. My thoughts overall, I think it's like an alright film. Like I said, it's a good family film, fun to watch. My biggest criticisms is, there's certain things that could have just been taken out to make this more tight. Don't add so much of the flashbacks of the first film, because people would just automatically go to the first film if they want to catch up on what happened in the first film. But beyond that, yeah, I thought it was a fine film. It'd be curious to know if people will return to this film as much as we've returned to the first Happy Gilmore film, even after so long. Because many people probably watched that film probably at least bare minimum 7 times, if not well over a dozen. So I'm not sure if Happy Gilmore 2 is going to fit into that realm years down the line. But maybe, kind of like with the Nolan Batman trilogy, once you start watching the first one, you kind of feel inclined to watch the rest because it feels kind of incomplete if you don't. So maybe it falls in that kind of realm. But in any case, like I said, great film. I'm gonna say great film. It's like a good family film. I have fun. You'll have fun. It's an enjoyable family film, which Adam Sandler is pretty good at making. But in any case, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of Happy Gilmore 2. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. The price is wrong, bitch. See ya.